This is ESR's 3-in-1 Qi2 Wireless Charger with CryoBoost technology built into it. Now, I've covered other active cooling chargers from Aukey before, and although that one is really effective for fast charging and cooling down the phone, it uses thermoelectric cooling, which consumes quite a bit of extra power for the cooling mechanism. This one, however, does not have any Peltier modules inside. It's just a regular fan that produces wind out of the vents to cool your phone. With my thermal camera, you can see that the Aukey one is visibly colder because of the Peltier modules inside it, but the ESR one is about the same as room temperature because inside only has fans, there are no Peltier modules. So is this simple fan-only design really sufficient for cooling, and does it actually lead to faster charging speed? To test this, I charged my iPhone 16 using this ESR charger versus Apple's 25 watts Magsafe charger. Then I used my power meter and temperature sensor to gather the data. Over here, you can see that the ESR charger took 1 hour and 46 minutes less time to get from 0 to 100% compared to Apple's 25 watts Magsafe charger. However, most of this time advantage is actually coming from the 80 to 100% battery range. Because if we were to look at the 0 to 80% battery range, the time advantage reduces to just 28 minutes. But personally, I still think that this is a non-trivial amount of time savings. Now let's look at how effective this CryoBoost technology is at cooling down the phone. Here you can see that the average temperature of the iPhone 16 is 2.1 degrees Celsius cooler at the 0 to 80% range when the ESR charger is used. The 25 watts Magsafe charger kept the iPhone 16 above 38 degrees Celsius for more than an hour, whereas the iPhone 16 only stayed at 37 degrees Celsius for a brief moment. So it's pretty clear that this charger also offers benefits in terms of thermal management on top of the faster charging speed. Since the charging speed on this ESR charger is pretty fast, I also compared it against wired charging using Apple's 35 watts power adapter and the original braided USB-C cable. Here you can see that the charging speed is 8 minutes faster than wired charging, and the average temperature is 1.2 degrees Celsius cooler. With wired charging, the iPhone 16 stayed at 37 to 38 degrees Celsius for nearly an hour, whereas the iPhone 16 only stayed at 37 degrees Celsius for a brief moment when using the ESR's CryoBoost charger. Although you may not think that the 8 minutes faster charging speed is all that significant, but I think it's important to keep in mind that wireless chargers used to have a bad reputation for being slow, inefficient, and warm. But with the CryoBoost technology, it has matched up to the speed of wired charging, which I think is pretty amazing. Now, I do want to mention something about the average power consumption because all chargers with active cooling technology will consume more power in order to cool the phone. Previously, I also covered another 3-in-1 wireless charger, which is this one from Aukey. This one uses 11.3 watts more power than the 25 watt Magsafe charger and 8.5 watts more power compared to wired charging. But this one from ESR is far more energy efficient because it uses just 6 watts more power than the 25 watts Magsafe charger and just 3.2 watts more power compared to wired charging. So although the cooling effects and charging speed on this ESR charger is slightly lower compared to this Aukey 3-in-1 charger, I think that this one from ESR is considerably more power efficient, and depending on what you prioritize, this might still be a good option for you. So what about Apple Watch charging? The Apple Watch charger is actually detachable from the main body, so if you're someone who forgets to charge your Apple Watch quite frequently, you can just bring this around with you and keep it in your bag, and you can attach it to your phone if it supports two-way charging, and then you can just charge your Apple Watch from there. Or you can also connect this to a power bank and you can charge your Apple Watch as well. But unfortunately, there is no active cooling for this Apple Watch charger. The CryoBoost technology is only for the phone charger. And based on my charging data, its charging speed is pretty far behind compared to Apple's 5 watts charger. It took 1 hour and 18 minutes longer to get from 0 to 100%, and if we were to look at the 0 to 80% battery range, it took 47 minutes longer. As for temperature, it generated 1.4 degrees Celsius more heat on average, and it kept the Apple Watch at above 38 degrees Celsius for a much longer time. This finding is actually similar to what I found when reviewing ESR's 3-in-1 Travel Charger with the same detachable Apple Watch charger. However, ESR did tell me that their engineers have found a solution to improve the charging speed of this Apple Watch charger, and their future models will address this aspect. But I should also let you know that with all the third-party Apple Watch chargers that I've tested, none of them were able to beat Apple's original Apple Watch charger. As for Airpods charging, I did not do a charging test for it because my AirPods Pro has already went through a lot of charge cycles. But anyway, apart from charging at the dedicated Airpods charger, you can also charge it using the phone charger, although I'm not entirely sure whether it will still benefit from the cooling effect. Now let's talk about the design of this charger. It has a matte plastic finish and it is available in black or white color. It doesn't take up much desk space because it is taller than it is wider. This means that it won't fit under the desk riser if you're looking to hide the charger away, something like what the Qi 3-in-1 charger can do. It is also not collapsible, so it's not that suitable for travel use. The phone charger part is not adjustable, so it is fixed at a slanted angle. The magnetic force on the phone charger is reasonably strong. It was able to hold my iPhone 16 securely, and although I can remove my iPhone 16 with just one hand, but the charger is most likely going to be lifted up or moved to some degree because this is not a heavy charger to begin with. There are also magnets for the Airpods charger to ensure better alignment with the charging coil. Here is a visualization of how much space it takes up on 3 different desk sizes. You also get a 33 watts power adapter and a 1.5 meter cable included in the box. Now, if you are starting to get interested in getting this 3-in-1 wireless charger, here are some considerations to think about first before getting one. The first thing is that you'll have to remove your phone case in order to get the best cooling effect, since anything in between your phone and the charging surface can act as a layer of insulation. Secondly, the fans inside the charger will produce some noise, but this is a common thing across all wireless chargers with active cooling mechanism. However, I would say that the noise on this ESR charger feels quieter than the one on the Aukey 3-in-1 wireless charger. Now, if you find that the Apple Watch charging on this charger is a little too slow and that's a deal breaker for you, there's actually another CryoBoost charger from ESR that can charge the Apple Watch way faster, and it is this one over here. I do have a review for it, and if you're interested, you can check it out over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.